Okay, let's just jump right in. We talk to AI models all day long, don't we? Asking questions, getting help with work, maybe even sharing some personal thoughts. But have you ever stopped to wonder what actually happens to those conversations after you close the window? I mean, where does that data go, and who gets to see it? Let's find out.
So let's start with the big question right up front. Is that chat you just had with an AI assistant really, truly private? You might think, of course it is. It's just me and the computer. But as we're about to see, the reality is, well, it's a lot more complicated than that.
To really get this, let's imagine a quick scenario. Picture this. You're working late, trying to hit a deadline, and you use an AI to help you draft a super sensitive document. So, you paste in your company's highly confidential fourth quarter strategy, asking the AI to summarize it for you.
Okay, now let's fast forward a couple of days. A completely different person, maybe a student working on a business project, logs into that very same AI service. They ask a really general question, something innocent, like, hey, can you give me some examples of modern business strategies?
And then this happens. The AI, just trying to be helpful, comes back with this shockingly specific example. It starts laying out these key points that sound eerily familiar. Yep, it's your confidential Q4 strategy. In a blink of an eye, your private data has just been leaked to a total stranger. And believe me, this isn't science fiction, it's a very, very real risk.
So here's the thing you have to understand. Large language models, or LLMs, they're built to remember. They learn from these massive amounts of text they process. That's their whole job. But that incredible memory can turn into a serious privacy nightmare. They literally can remember things a little too well.
So how on earth does this even happen? That brings us to our first section, the AI memory leak. We're going to break down the exact journey a private chat can take to become public knowledge. Trust me, understanding this is the absolute first step to protecting yourself.
You know, the path from your private input to a public leak is surprisingly straightforward. It all starts when you share something sensitive. That info immediately enters the AI's context window. You can think of that as the AI's short-term memory, just for your current chat. But, and here's the huge catch, depending on the company's policy, that conversation can get logged and stored to help train the model. And once your data is part of that gigantic training library, it can be recalled and just served up as an answer to someone else.
There's actually a technical term for this, and it's called model memorization. This is when the AI doesn't just learn general ideas, it actually holds on to and can spit back out specific word-for-word pieces of data it was trained on. So, if your private chat becomes part of that training data, it's at risk of being memorized and then just repeated. So, if you remember one thing from this section, make it this. The AI's context window is absolutely not the same as a private conversation. Your data can have a whole second life long after you've closed the tab. Okay, so that's the problem, and it's a bit scary, I know. But we're not just here to freak you out. Let's move on, because this is where we get proactive. Let's talk about your AI defense plan. There are real concrete steps you can take to take back control of your data and use these incredible tools safely. All right, the first and honestly the biggest choice you can make is where the AI actually runs. With cloud-based AI, which is what most of us are using every day, your data gets sent over the internet to company servers. That's where it can be logged and stored. But the alternative is a local AI. This is where the model runs completely on your own computer, on your hardware. Nothing gets sent out, which makes it, by far, the most private option for any confidential work.
Now, besides just going local, there are other strategies. You've got to check a service's data retention policies. How long are they actually keeping your chats? Look for features like end-to-end encryption or ephemeral conversations, which basically means your chat gets deleted as soon as the session is over. And finally, I know it's boring, but you really have to read the privacy policy. You need to know what you're signing up for.
We've covered a lot of ground here, so let's boil it all down into a simple, easy-to-remember checklist. These are the 3 essential rules you need to follow for AI privacy. Think of this as your go-to guide from now on.
Okay, rule number 1, never, ever share personally identifiable information, that's PII, like your address or financial details, with a public cloud-based AI. Just don't. Rule number 2, for anything truly confidential, you got to use private local models that run on your own machine. And rule number 3, this one is probably the most important mindset shift. Assume every single cloud AI logs your data. Treat privacy as something you have to actively opt into, not something that's given to you by default. So, we'll leave you with this final thought. We are building tools that have an increasingly perfect, permanent memory.
And that really forces us to be much more careful, much more intentional about what we choose to share. So, given that your AI might remember everything you say forever, what are you going to tell it?